So in my isekai video from this season, I told you guys how there are two animes which is basically the same show airing this season. Well, there seems to be two more. Actually, you know what? Fuck you. These two anime are totally different and I'm gonna prove it. This is my video of Civilization, the anime genre, and how cool it is. Disclaimer, I never played Civ and probably never will, so I'll be using Age of Empires as reference. Yes, you all got debated, deal with it. The plot of both Game of Thrones spin-offs can be separated by the Narnia version and the normal one. In how a realistic hero rebuilt the kingdom, we follow Soma Kazuya, which is isekai'd as the hero, but he's useless, no powers, no strength. However, he is from this legendary race of people who are great, smart and knowledgeable, called Asians. So he convinces the old king that he should be king and will rebuild the whole Scotland, and the old king does it so. And he gets a waifu. I mean, it's anime, so it makes sense. The genius prince guide to raising a nation out of that is not an isekai, just a normal garbage. But since it's still anime, we get a waifu as well. Our prince, Wine, hates the kingdom and wants to sell it. However, everything conspires against this. And when I tell you everything, I mean even him conspires against himself. You just can't trust anyone. With the help of his assistant and totally not fuckmate Ninin, he tries to raise the value of the kingdom in hopes to sell it when the opportunity appears. Realist Hero starts off kinda slowly, but far from boring. It shows how the protagonist uses his knowledge to solve problems like the food shortage, by telling everyone about crop rotations, and I mean planting food instead of cotton, since cotton is not edible. Maybe you don't need to be a genius to see that everyone in this world is an idiot. It is entertaining seeing how someone uses the knowledge of nowadays in a decaying kingdom, but also how with the uses of magic he can replicate certain types of technology, like these communicating stones to show content to the whole city, or using to communicate with his VTubers that he always wished for. Although it is slowly, you appreciate how he resolves the problems in such a detailed and also realistic way, from how to manage all the treasure, economics and money from the broke kingdom, to everything down to the details that you need to build a city. Not only the architecture, but being a port city, there could be problems with earthquakes or seaquakes and tsunamis. Everything is covered and the bastard doesn't have Microsoft Excel. However, it doesn't take much until the consequences of his efficiency over tradition leads to a civil war in his country. And at the same time he suffers attacks from the neighbor country to his borders in these times. And this is what makes these two animes so alike, warfare strategies. After settling some things in his kingdom, Realist Hero suffers from civil war and an invasion from their neighbor country, Amidonia, which gave the first feeling of threat that was missing, and in my opinion it did work out really well. Up to that point we only saw him upgrading his kingdom on his own, where the enemy was everyone else's incompetence, and this brought the first sense of danger, where he had to think outside of the box to deal with that, since he is not your generic OP protagonist that can solve everything with his powers. The Genius Prince is different. If Realist Hero feels like a single player campaign, Genius Prince feels like Age of Empires PvP. Again, I don't know if Civ has PvP multiplayer, I'm sorry. In the first episode we get to know our protagonist and his motivations of selling his kingdom and retiring. Unfortunately for him, his plan seems to work out really well and his nations and expectations over him grow stronger. Although it has more of a focus in the political and warfare side of his nation than the economy one, this anime delivers a good story, and different from Realist Hero, comedy is way more present. It's nothing hilarious, but the chemistry of Wayne and Ninin certainly give you some funny moments. Like those you see in some clips on YouTube, you know it. Wayne tries to fail, but he doesn't want a shameful defeat. He wants to look like he tried, and unfortunately everyone is too dumb and his plan seems to work out. But even him has his cool moments. He's willing to protect those he cares about and will do anything in his power to do that. The anime does not give you the detailed explanation and all the strategies to grow a kingdom, but its characters, although more artificial, are way better than Realist Hero in my opinion. Alright, I've ignored this for far too long. In terms of production value, both are garbage. There's nothing outstanding in the animation. If you watch trash isekai you might get used to it, But if you're only watching the Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen like anime, I would understand if you ever wanted to rip off your eyeballs. Especially for Genius Springs, there are moments where the quality just drops harder than shitcoins. Although the character's design is good, it still doesn't save from some terrible shit. This hero does its job, but nothing special. All characters look basic. You certainly aren't watching these shows for the animation, and being honest, the story can also be dull sometimes. One thing both these animes fails are end goals. Giga already talked in his video, but a disappointing thing in modern isekai is that no one has ended yet. And Realist hero is no different. The show started saying that he would help the country grow and recover, and then he would finally go back to his homeworld. But that concept was already forgotten. He even got in Harrow in the latest episodes of the second season, in which he doesn't partake in intercourse due to being forced to deal with 3 wars, 8 cities constructions, meetings, writing down the kingdom's new recipe, and presenting his television show for his kingdom, in which he announced that he will marry another wife, which he still hasn't smashed yet. Genius Prince, although funny, cannot do that forever. The characters are fun, but at some point they will have to decide what to do with wine. His goal is to get rid of the kingdom, and the enemy is constantly trying to make this a joke of he can't do that yet. But it's just a question of time until he gets stale, if it isn't already. In the end, both of them suffer from one of the anime's biggest flaws. They don't have an ending. I like both these anime. They show me a kind of genre different from slice of life and shonen battle that can be enticing and fun to watch. They are far from great, however I can see how people can enjoy them and not for the waifus, or the animation, or the story, but by its genre.